What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm counting down the top 10 most exciting upcoming sneaker releases of Christmas and holiday 2019. Every year there seems to be a huge influx of sneaker releases around the holiday season, which makes sense because people are buying gifts. And a lot of times big brands like Nike and Adidas hold on to their best releases until November and December. And unfortunately that means for sneakerheads like us, we spend a lot more money than we mean to. I can tell you from personal experience that I've spent thousands of dollars in just December on sneakers, which is a sickness I think, and it definitely doesn't look like that trend is going to end anytime soon. So since we're about to get into October and holiday season is just starting to ramp up, I wanted to give you guys an idea of what sneakers are releasing and what shoes to look forward to. But before we jump into things, if you haven't already checked it out, make sure to check out my brand new unboxing channel where I unbox pretty much everything. Electronics, games, anything except for sneakers, honestly. I mean, that doesn't mean that there won't be sneakers on that channel in the future, but for right now, it's kind of just a everything else sort of channel. So if you'd like to check that channel out, I've left links to it in the description below. I just unboxed the brand new iPhone 11 Pro Max and the Nintendo Switch Lite, which were a lot of fun, so make sure to check those videos out if you haven't yet. But with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into the list of the top 10 upcoming sneaker releases of holiday 2019. Number 10, the Air Jordan 12 Dark Gray. This white and gray colorway is pretty clean on the Air Jordan 12 and is also very reminiscent of the Flint Grays that dropped back in 2003. This shoe features a white tumbled leather upper that looks pretty soft in pictures, but there's no way to know until we actually get a chance to touch it. The mudguard, midsole, and outsole are dressed in dark gray with a Jumpman accent on the lateral side in a metallic silver. This is definitely one of the cleanest Air Jordan 12 colorways to drop in a minute, but it's not really anything special or that exciting unless you're really into the Flint Gray look. I do think it's a good looking sneaker, and I especially like those metallic silver lace loops at the top of the shoe. If you're a fan of the Air Jordan 12, this is definitely a good way to go, and it has a tentative release date of December 21st. Number 9, the Adidas Yeezy 500 Stone. Yeezy 500s have been incredibly popular recently, and that's probably because they were sort of put away in the vault for about 6 months. While the Yeezy 500 Stone colorway might be very similar to a lot of the other previous Yeezy 500 colorways, there is a pretty large difference, and the difference is the material makeup. Rather than a large portion of the upper being covered in mesh like it usually is on the 500s, this time around it looks like they're changing things up and replacing the mesh with sort of a padded neoprene. And I gotta say, as much as I thought that I wouldn't like this material change, I really think it makes the shoe. The entire sneaker just looks more plush and more padded, and in turn more comfortable. And in my opinion, with these neoprene accents, the shoe looks a lot less insect-like, like it did on the previous 500s. Colorway wise, yeah, it's just kind of more of the same, just a tan Yeezy 500, but I do really think that this material change will make a pretty big splash and make a lot of people really excited about the 500s again. To be completely honest with you, this is actually the first 500 that I've really been looking forward to. If you're trying to grab a pair of the Stone Yeezy 500s, they drop sometime in November. Number 8, the What The Air Jordan 4. For about a decade now, Nike has really been running with the What The sneaker theme. This What The theme, if you're not familiar, is when Nike takes a bunch of the most popular colorways of a certain sneaker silhouette and incorporates them all into one colorway on that shoe. And up until recently, the What The theme never really made it onto Air Jordan models. I believe the first one that we got was the Air Jordan 1 Top 3. And it looks like this theme or story is finally hitting the Air Jordan 4 for its 30th anniversary. This What The 4 is a mashup of iconic Air Jordan 4 colorways like the white cements, the black cements, the fire reds, and the military blues. And like most other What The sneakers, each side of the pair is actually different than one another. I think one gripe that a lot of people have with this particular What The iteration is that this shoe doesn't really look that crazy. Sure, the heel tabs alternate colors and the mesh might be slightly different, but the overall look of the sneaker is kind of just a white Air Jordan 4. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I think Jordan Brand was trying to make this sneaker a little bit more cohesive and a lot more wearable, but my problem is if you're gonna make a What The Air Jordan 4, make it crazy, make it out there. If you look at most other What The versions of shoes, they look completely different. Like one shoe is a green and one shoe is a blue, and then there's like a red tongue with like an orange furry lining or something crazy like that. This shoe is just kind of like a white, black, red, and blue Air Jordan 4, and it's kind of dull. However, criticism aside, it is still an Air Jordan 4 and it still doesn't look bad. It's just not as crazy as I think most people would have liked. I will definitely be trying to grab a pair for myself because personally I love the Air Jordan 4, and if you end up deciding to grab a pair for yourself, the tentative release date is November 23rd. Number 7, the Air Jordan 1 Shattered Backboard 3.0. This is probably the most controversial shoe on the entire list, and come to think of it, it's also the first shoe dropping on this entire list. It's dropping around Halloween, so it's kind of at the beginning beginning of the holiday season, in my opinion, I think it just made the cutoff. But of course, this shoe is the infamous Air Jordan 1 Shattered Backboard, and I actually have a pair which I just dropped a review on last week, so if you'd like to check that out, make sure to click the link at the top of the screen. There are a lot of reasons why people really hate this shoe, and to be honest, I get most of them. But the main reason is the fact that Jordan Brand opted to go for a sort of ridiculous, crinkled patent leather upper, which is not something that I think anyone's really seen before in an Air Jordan 1. In my opinion, Jordan Brand is using this material to symbolize the shattering backboard. I could be wrong about that, but that's sort of what it seems like. And I really think the best way to describe this material is a crinkled patent leather. The reason people seem to be so split on this sneaker is because the shattered backboard is one of the most coveted Air Jordan 1s of all time, and people were really excited about the fact that they would get a chance to grab this shoe in more of a Bred colorway. And then when images finally leaked of this shoe, people started to realize that Jordan Brand wasn't going to use the standard leather that they usually use on Air Jordan 1s, and instead they were going to use this crinkled patent leather look, which took a lot of people by surprise. I think a lot of people consider this a waste of a really great colorway, and I see where they're coming from, but I actually don't think the sneaker is that bad, especially not in hand. Seriously, if you haven't had a chance to check out my review yet, make sure to do that and form your own opinions, because I personally think people are really going to start liking them once they see them in hand. The other reason people don't seem to like this shoe is because of the midsole and the outsole, and the fact that they're both the same color and they come in sort of a yellowish sail color. That part I don't get as much. I think the midsole and outsole is fine, it doesn't really bother me, but to each their own. I personally don't think that the Shattered Backboard 3.0s are a bad shoe, but they might not be at the top of my list for favorite sneaker of the year. If you decide that you like this shoe and want to grab a pair for yourself, they drop on October 26th. Number 6, the Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2 Yay Chill. I guess, really know. I've complained a lot recently about how Yeezy colorways have been very similar to one another, and it looks like things are really starting to change because we're getting a release of the Yeezy Boost 350 V2 that looks nothing like any of the other releases. In fact, it looks kinda nuts. The 350 V2 Yay Chill, no idea how to pronounce it, is a very interesting looking sneaker that still has the static pattern, I guess, but sort of inverts the entire look. The base color of this prime knit upper as well as the midsole is black, and woven into the prime knit we've also got some whites, some tans, and some really bright reds. Even though there isn't any green in this shoe, I think this shoe has a lot of very Christmassy vibes to it. And I definitely do not think it's the prettiest 350 V2 to release, but I think it's a nice departure from what we've been getting. Construction wise, the Yay Chill or Yee Chill it's pretty similar to the other 350 V2s. There's nothing really about it that seems any different, and I actually think that's a good thing because we are getting the 350 V3s sooner than later, and it's a nice way to sort of finish off the V2s. I'm really interested to know how limited this 350 V2 will actually be. Based on the fact that it's got sort of a crazier upper, I think it might be actually a little bit more limited than most other 350 V2s. I might be totally off base about that, but if you look at most of the other 350 V2s, usually the crazier the colorway, the more limited the shoe is. It's an interesting colorway, and if you're planning to grab a pair for yourself, they've got a tentative release date of December 15th. Number 5, the Air Jordan 4 Winter. The first thing you might notice about this sneaker is its striking resemblance to the M&M 4s, and I really think that's most of its appeal, to be honest. This is a winterized Air Jordan 4, hence the name Air Jordan 4 Winter, which means that the materials in theory should be more durable and warmer than a standard Air Jordan 4. The mesh on the side of the sneaker and on the tongue of the sneaker is not a regular plastic mesh, it's more of like a punched out synthetic leather. But like I said, the real draw of this sneaker is the colorway and how similar it looks to that $25,000 M&M 4. This shoe features a dark grayish blue upper with black accents on the midsole, and of course you've got that red hit on the top of the tongue. It's a good looking shoe, but let's be honest, if it wasn't in the Air Jordan 4 colorway, no one would be that interested in it. If you're trying to grab a pair of the Air Jordan 4 Winters for yourself, they drop on December 2nd. Number 4, the Cactus Plant Flea Market Nike Air Force 1 Low. Travis Scott took to his Instagram recently to reveal this brand new Cactus Plant Flea Market and Nike collaboration. I think the popularity of the Cactus Plant Flea Market Air Vapor Max 2019 took a lot of people by surprise, and I really do think that this Air Force 1 is going to be much more popular, especially since it seems like it's coming in men's sizing as well. The Cactus Plant Flea Market Air Force 1 features bold lettering along the sides of the shoe, very reminiscent to what we find on the Air More Uptempos. In fact, I think the lettering is taken directly from the Air More Uptempos. As of right now, there seems to be 2 different versions of the shoe. I guess 2 different colorways, but they both feature different lettering on the upper. The first version has lettering that says Air Flea, and the second version has lettering that says Sunshine Air. Both Travis Scott and A$AP Rocky have been seen wearing these shoes, which lead me to believe that this shoe is going to release in the near future, probably around the holidays. My favorite part about the collaboration is the way the lettering is actually attached to the upper. It seems to be completely covering up the Nike swoosh and also overflowing onto the midsole itself. Although the colorways that we've seen so far do seem to be relatively simple, I think the actual construction of the sneaker is very interesting and it's going to be a really cool collaboration to see in hand. I'm stoked on this pair not only because I think it's a great looking sneaker, but also because I missed out on the other CPFM drop earlier this year. As of right now, there is no release date for this shoe, but I wouldn't be surprised if it dropped sometime around the holidays. Number 3, the Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V3. Finally, 3 years after the initial release of the Yeezy Boost 350 V2, we have a successor in the Yeezy Boost 350 V3 Alien. While the overall shape of the 350 V3 remains similar to that of the V2, there are a lot of details that have changed pretty dramatically on the sneaker. Most notably, the midsole and the outsole of the shoe have changed from that iconic ribbed Yeezy look to a much more smooth and streamlined aesthetic. I believe the midsole does still feature full-length boost, and based on some of the pictures that I've seen, it looks like there actually is a lot more boost in this version than the V2. It also looks like this new midsole has a very dramatic slant upwards towards the heel. Another major change on the V3 is the upper itself. While it looks like Adidas and Kanye are still using PrimeKnit as the main material, the construction of the PrimeKnit has changed dramatically. The overall shape of the upper remains somewhat similar, however it looks like the PrimeKnit itself is a much more sock-like fit, and instead of the ankle area sort of flaring out like it does on the V2, it looks like on the V3 it's going to come towards your ankle and sort of hug your leg like a sock. Aesthetically, the pattern of the upper has changed pretty dramatically as well. It looks like the knit has a much more organic feel to it, and the actual translucent stripe on the side of the shoe is not so much a stripe anymore as it is kind of a blob. I definitely see the inspiration behind the Alien name because the shoe does have a very alien-esque look, but I don't think it's a bad looking sneaker overall, no matter how much hate people seem to be giving this shoe. It's definitely a different look, it's definitely something that people have to get used to, and I'm personally excited to check it out for myself. As of right now, there is no specific date for the release of the 350 V3 Alien, however the projected date is sometime in December. Number 2, the Off-White Nike Dunk Low. Let's be honest, the Off-White Nike drops over the last couple months have been pretty weak. But it looks like Off-White and Nike are finally turning things around with a drop of the Off-White Nike Dunk Low. With the resurgence of Nike Dunks, I think these shoes are coming at the perfect time, and they're probably going to be one of the most hyped up releases of the entire year. Unlike a lot of the other Off-White Nike sneakers, it looks like Virgil is taking a pretty different approach to these dunks. It looks like rather than going for sort of the prototype aesthetic, he's actually just adding a whole new lacing system on top of a standard dunk. As of right now, it looks like we do have a couple colorways that are slated to drop, the first of which is the University Red Gray colorway. The base of the shoe looks just like any standard Nike Dunk Low in University Red and Gray. However, as I mentioned before, it looks like Virgil has actually added some bright orange rope laces weaving over the top of the sneaker. These rope laces seem to be connected to some sort of flywire system that weaves throughout the upper of the shoe, and while I think it's an interesting look, I do think there are other things that he could have done that I probably would have liked a little bit better. Of course, in addition to the rope laces, you do have a lot of the other signature Off-White touches, like the unfinished tongue, the Off-White branding on the laces, and the Off-White paragraph on the medial side. It looks like the Off-White zip tie is also going to be present on this shoe as well, and it looks like in this University Red colorway, the zip tie is coming in sort of a translucent clear color. The other colorways that I've seen of this shoe are sort of a green and white version, a UNC colorway, and also sort of a tie-dye Futura version. Honestly, I would be happy with any of these colorways because I do think this is a really interesting collaboration and I'd love to see how this shoe looks in person. As of right now, there is no specific release date for any of these colorways, and currently the rumor is that they'll drop sometime in October, but knowing Off-White and knowing Nike, I wouldn't be surprised if these shoes get pushed back. Number 1, the Air Jordan 11 Bred. Every year Jordan Brand drops a holiday release of the Air Jordan 11 High, and it looks like we're finally getting another retro of the Bred 11s, which is a shoe that I missed out on in 2012 and have wanted ever since. And I think the Bred colorway is the best looking colorway on an Air Jordan 11. This 2019 retro will feature the higher patent leather cut that we've had on previous Air Jordan 11 retros over the past couple years, and apparently this retro will also feature the original Air Jordan shoebox. Unlike previous rumors suggested, this shoe should feature the 23 branding on the heel, which I'm definitely a fan of. And there's really not anything else that can be said about the Bred 11s that hasn't already been said. It's a great looking sneaker, and as of right now, it's slated to drop on December 14th. I'm really excited about this pair, and I'm planning to pick up as many pairs as I possibly can because I don't know when this shoe is retroing again. But that pretty much wraps wraps up the list for today. Now, I would love to know your thoughts on this list and which one of these shoes you're looking forward to most. So make sure to leave those comments in the comment section down below. Once again, don't forget to check out my brand new unboxing channel. The links to that are in the description below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.